When your body deals with stress, your first reaction is often the need for extra sleep. Particularly during cancer, your body needs extra sleep to cope with the treatment, side effects, and general stress. As a family caring and often having to increase your roles within the family, sleep is often something that gets lost. Sleep is important to be able to communicate effectively, react and problem solve, and helps us stay positive. It is also required to enable our body to heal and have a strong immune response, which is why when we get sick, we get stressed. Sleep is often a cyclical problem with stress from not sleeping, and broken sleep also causes a reduced ability to sleep well. Are you able to tell me a little bit about your experience and some challenges you faced with your sleep during your treatment?
So sleeping, where do I start? It's really hard. So when you first get diagnosed with cancer, the worst thing is your mind, you think it's a death sentence. And trying to go to sleep, you just have all these visions running through your head. I had nightmares and stuff like that. How do you deal with that? I stumbled across a book called The Cancer Companion, and it gave me a lot of tools to work with. So when I first got diagnosed, before treatment and stuff like that, I was reading this book on what's the new normal. There is no new normal. It's whatever it comes to you. But you know, some of the visions that you'd have, the one that really stands out was I was in a coffin, and it was just the worst. Like, how do you get that out of your mind so you can calm your mind down to go to sleep? And one of the tips from this book that I was reading was they put an analogy like bad thoughts are going to come. You can't push them away. You got to accept they're going to be there. But how do you move them on? So for me, I used to just vision tying them to a hot air balloon and watching them float away. Now, that wind can change and bring them back, but I got so good at doing that I didn't have to consciously do it anymore. So that was one of the tools that I used to help me get through all those bad visions. But once I started treatment, that was another kettle of fish, because the chemo was just doing things to my body that I was not expecting, and it was like a constant hangover, like being sick all the time, the feeling of motion sickness, and then on top of that, I was having radiation treatment as well. So it was like, how did I put it? It was like being on a cruise ship, hungover with massive sunburn. That's how it felt to me. Like it was next level. The things they don't tell you about trying to sleep, you know, like I was getting these really bad hiccups for 2 or 3 days after the chemo. So I'd be laying in bed trying to sleep, but as soon as I moved, I'd have these hiccups, and it felt like someone put a defibrillator on your chest, and it would go for like 10, 15 minutes. And it'd go for 2 to 3 days, so you weren't sleeping very well or much at all. And so I ended up just sleeping in the spare bedroom, just so both me and Sharon could get some sleep, because to me it was important that Sharon was still functioning and could get sleep, because she was still having to work. I was fortunate I didn't have to work, so I could catch up sleep anytime. So yeah, but then it's the chemo or the drugs that you can pump into your body. They play with your bowels and all that, and passing wind was just horrific. It stunk. Like, I couldn't stand it, so I'm going, how does my partner stand this? And that was another reason to go to a spare room, just so we could get some sleep. Is that how you found it?
Yeah, so I think initially we were trying to sort of keep ourselves in the one bedroom, but with the hiccups and things going on all the time during the night, Kirk was very conscious of the fact that he didn't want to interrupt me, whereas generally I can sleep through anything, so it wasn't really too big a deal for me. But we thought the best situation was that he basically packed up and moved into the other room, and then if he was up and down during the night or couldn't sleep or needed to get up and have a glass of milk or refresh or sort of reset himself, then none of that was interruptive to me. And whatever, if you had multiple trips to the toilet or whatever during the night, then I wasn't interrupted by that. So I think we sort of got that down pat pretty quickly to try and as Kirk said, I was still working and I was, still had my other routines going on. So the less disruption to me, probably the better. So that worked quite well. And as things progressed and he got more you know, with all the chemicals, and he got more symptoms and more side effects. And then we ended up with the humidifier in that room, so that we'd turn that on before he went to bed to try and get, you know, some sort of system going in that room, so that, yeah, well, eventually all that sort of worked out pretty well. But we found that was the best solution for the two of us.
Yeah, yeah. And as the treatment went on, and because mine was throat cancer and the radiation, and your throat's really dry and you got no, the saliva glands are all doing weird stuff. They're working, they're not working, and things like that. So, like Sharon said, we had a humidifier, which helped. But I was trying to come up with crazy ways of trying to keep that moisture in there. So initially I was going with a mask, you know, those COVID masks, to try and keep that moist air flowing through, and that worked for a couple of days. But then it didn't. There was nothing I could really do to just drink water, and then trying to get to sleep towards the end was, you know, was melatonin was one of the, you know, it's supposed to be a bit of a natural, is that right? It's a bit of a natural remedy to help you, just to take that edge off your mindset. But, you know, roughly about week 3 or 4 in, I had a PEG tube as well, so I was feeding myself, which brought its other issues. So I was living on tubes of high protein shakes, basically getting punched straight into my stomach. And a few times when I was sleeping, the cap came off, you know, like, so it's like you've wet the bed or you've spewed up on yourself through the night. So these issues were going on as well. And just, you know, you constantly, because I had to drink, so you're waking up every hour. I probably didn't sleep longer than an hour, so I'd have a drink. Then I'd have to go to the toilet. So it was just this circle of like disruptive sleep pattern.
These are just some key points to help you with your sleep. Try and avoid caffeine and alcohol before bedtime. Avoid light from screens such as a computer, tablets, and TV before bedtime. Be sure to be physically active during the day. And try and be involved in some meditative movement interventions. This can include Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga. These have shown to improve sleep, but also improve depression and anxiety. Be aware of your bedroom environment, the temperature, the light, and the noise. And also, don't forget your need for self-care and positive thoughts before you go to sleep.